Jimmy and Stiggs is like dropping acid while being kicked in the balls, and for some, that's a good thing. So this is the first official release from Eli Roth's recently created production company called The Horror Section, where he's very much trying to champion and preserve unfiltered and unrated horror, keeping them away from the grubby hands of studio execs. And it's essentially telling a story about a very paranoid guy who teams up with his best friend to ward off an alien abduction inside of his apartment. And the thing that I'll say about Jimmy and Stiggs is this is one of those times where the movie fan inside of me is extremely conflicted. On one hand, you have a very inspiring, admirable, and impressive effort from an independent director who's literally just making a DIY horror film inside of his own apartment. Pretty much everything that you see on screen is something that is handcrafted by the writer-director Joe Begos. And while the film as presented is a very tight, close quarters, one location style horror film, he uses the one location in a lot of different ways. The look and the lighting and the visuals and the aesthetic of the film is very much like this neon acid trip. All the blood and everything is so fluorescent. It is something that is almost an assault on the senses in the best way. And whether you love or hate the film, when you watch the end of it and they get into a lot of the behind the scenes, and it's an actual interview held by Eli Roth and the filmmaker Joe Begos, as a film fan, you can't help but be inspired by what this guy created. But with that all being said, the conflict comes in where I tell you that I did not enjoy the film at all beyond just the film fan marveling at what he was able to create. This is one of those times where you look at a movie and say, that would have been a really great short, but unfortunately it's 90 minutes long. The film essentially plays out like 3 different scenes, one where he's being paranoid, one where he's lashing out at his friend, and one where he is attacking and fighting off aliens, and we just recycle those 3 scenes. And I gotta be honest, as far as the screenplay goes, I was almost wondering if Rob Zombie wrote this, because like every 3rd word is fuck, fucking, or fucker. I mean, I cuss like a sailor, and even I was getting mentally exhausted with the dialogue. And because the film is extremely low budget and all of the creature effects and everything are made by hand, there's a certain bit of a campy charm to it, but also it does look incredibly cheap, and for some that's going to translate to silly. I'm some. Everybody that watches it is either going to absolutely love it or absolutely hate it. If you enjoyed this guy's previous work, which VFW I absolutely do, and you really want to see what he can do just on his own, creating everything from the ground up with a very low budget in one location, the fascination of what he's able to achieve, I think, is going to win you over. But if you're somebody who's not really into the filmmaking aspect and you just want to go for story or character work, this is not the movie for you. But even with all that said, I'm glad this movie exists. I'm glad a production company like The Horror Section exists. I'm curious to see what else comes out of it. And I'm glad there's more of an appreciation and a genuine push from certain filmmakers to preserve unfiltered, unrated, independent horror filmmaking.